Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into this really powerful story about family, about business, and, well, about seeing value where other people just see risk. It's a great lesson in how honoring the past might just be the secret to building an even stronger future.
Every town has them, right? Those businesses that are just landmarks, the ones built on a foundation of trust and sheer hard work. Well, this story is about one of those places, a company called Savannah Steelworks, in a single moment in time where its entire legacy was secured for the next generation.
All right, so let's set the scene here. We're talking about Savannah Steelworks, founded way back in the 1970s by a guy named James Harris. For 50 years, think about that, half a century, his reputation for hard work and just being fair was as solid as the steel he was shaping. This wasn't just some business, it was a real cornerstone of the community.
So when James got sick, the torch was passed to his grandson, Michael. Michael's in his early 30s, a military vet, so he's got all this energy and discipline. And while he absolutely respected the family name, he saw something crucial. To really honor the past, he had to invest in the future. The business had to change, or it just wasn't going to survive.
And this is where things get tricky. The problem wasn't a lack of business. Actually, just the opposite. Customer demand was booming. With longtime clients and Newport expansions, there was more work than they knew what to do with. But the shop's equipment was old, the building was way too small, and they just couldn't keep up. The entire legacy was hanging by a thread.
Okay, so Michael does what any of us would do. He goes to the banks for a loan. But he hits a wall. They hesitated. And this is what I find so fascinating, this tale of two perspectives. The traditional banks, they looked at new leadership, and all they saw was new risk. But then this other lender, a community development group called CADDA, they looked at the exact same facts and saw something completely different. They saw a trusted family legacy, they saw proven demand, and they saw a leader who was not going to quit. So how? How could two groups look at the same business and see polar opposites? Well, it turns out CADDA used a special kind of framework to look past the surface-level stuff and get to the company's real fundamental value. And that framework? It's known as the 5 C's of credit.
Yeah, you can think of these 5 C's as like 5 keys that unlock the real story of a business. It's about going way beyond just a simple balance sheet to look at those intangible things, the stuff that doesn't show up in the numbers but often makes all the difference. So let's break down how each one of these applied to Savannah Steelworks.
All right, first up is character. And this is huge. The Harris name meant something in that town. It was an asset, built one handshake at a time over 50 years. Lenders saw that Michael wasn't just some random startup founder. No, he was carrying on a legacy with these incredibly deep, trustworthy roots right there in the community.
Okay, number 2, capacity. This wasn't some if you build it, they will come pipe dream. The demand was already there, banging down the door. Michael had the contracts to prove it. Repeat orders, new clients. The business had already proven it could make money. It just, needed the right tools to actually do the work. Third C is capital. And this is about having skin in the game. Michael showed he was absolutely all in. He put $50,000 of his own money into the business, a mix of his savings and inheritance. That tells a lender everything, right? He was willing to bet on himself and his family's legacy. Next, we've got collateral. Pretty straightforward, but super important. The business had real physical assets. The Harris family owned the building, free and clear. You add in all the heavy machinery and the inventory, and suddenly you've got a really strong safety net for any lender. And the last C, conditions. Because let's face it, no business exists in a bubble, right? And the conditions in Savannah were perfect. The local economy was booming, you had construction, shipping, the port expanding. All of it meant that the demand for quality steelwork wasn't just strong, it was set to explode. Savannah Steelworks was in the perfect place at the perfect time to ride that wave.
So when you put it all together, character, capacity, capital, collateral, and conditions, CADDA saw the whole picture. They saw what the banks missed. And because they had that complete understanding, they could craft a financing solution that was just perfect for what the company needed and what it could become.
So what was the magic bullet? It was a specific tool called an SBA 504 loan. Now, this is a really powerful government-backed program where a bank and a community partner, like CADDA, team up on the loan. It's literally designed for situations just like this one, to help a good small business get the affordable, long-term funding it needs to grow and create jobs.
For Michael, this was the key that finally opened the door that the other banks had slammed shut.
And look at what the right kind of money can do. This wasn't just a loan to keep the lights on. Oh no, this was a catalyst for a total transformation. Suddenly, Michael could get a new, bigger facility. He bought state-of-the-art CNC machinery that literally doubled their production speed. And he got great loan terms that made managing cash flow a whole lot easier.
So you're probably wondering, what was the actual impact of this breakthrough investment? Well, the results were, frankly, incredible. And they happened really, really fast.
Get this, in just 18 months, the entire business was turned around, completely revitalized. All those production bottlenecks that were killing them in the old shop, gone. Savannah Steelworks was now playing in a whole new league.
And the financial numbers were just staggering. Revenue shot up by 40%. Now, that's not just a little bit of growth. That's a quantum leap. It was fueled by being able to finally say yes to those bigger contracts and getting them done faster than ever.
And that success rippled out into the community. The company created new, high-skilled jobs, growing the team from 14 people to 20. So, an investment in the company's future became a direct investment in the local economy. You'll love to see it.
You know, the story of Savannah Steelworks is so much more than just a great business turnaround. There's a really powerful lesson here, especially if you've ever built or inherited a family business.
And the lesson is this: your legacy, that reputation, that trust, the name you've built over decades, it isn't just a nice memory. It's a real, tangible, bankable asset. With the right kind of financial partner, the next generation doesn't just have to hang on to what you built. They can actually take it to a whole new level.
So, that leaves us with one final question to think about. Looking beyond the numbers on a spreadsheet, what's the hidden value in your business's story? What are those intangible strengths from your past that could be the very key to forging its future?